I'm accumulating Palantir shares and planning to hold them for the long term. This is because with the research that I've already done and continue to do, I believe this company is on the brink of something special. Before I delve into this video, if you want a one-to-one chat with me, there's a link in the description that you can use to book a call. The world is changing. As a society, we have moved so far so quickly, and in just a short space of time, we have gone from the inception of the internet to where we are now, where we're learning about artificial intelligence. And this has created such volumes of data. The volume of data that is now being created, stored, and replicated worldwide is growing exponentially, and this is not going to slow down or stop anytime soon. I've heard the phrase that data is the oil for the 21st century, and this is a metaphor to explain the importance of data in this modern world. And just like oil was so essential to the Industrial Revolution, data is essential to this new era that we're in, the digital revolution. As more time passes, we just simply create more data points. This data is growing exponentially, and it's not going to stop. So now we have data in excess, more data than any business, any government, any organization can even keep on top of, let alone do anything useful with. I think for a long time, no one really understood what they actually needed or how they could benefit from AI, artificial intelligence. But now it's come to the point where those who are not using their data efficiently are the ones that are getting outcompeted and left behind. And this is where Palantir roll themselves in. They are sat right on that edge between where data analytics and AI meet. And they are one of the few companies who are positioned to really address this change. They are able to take all of the data from various sources and formats, and then they make it possible for a user to analyze that data and make real-world decisions based on it. Now imagine how long it would take an individual at a small, let alone a big organization, to get all of the company's data from all of the various sources, whether it's emails, different platforms, different spreadsheets, different online chats, whatever it may be. Take all that data and then put it into one centralized system, probably going to be a spreadsheet for most companies. And then once they've got that, to then go through that data and actually look for trends, to then use those trends to help the company make certain decisions. That would take such a long time. And not only is it really time consuming, but you've got to have someone that knows what they're doing, someone that's really trained on data analytics and all of that stuff. And also human errors could start seeping in. And the scary thing is that businesses are still opting to actually do it this way. We don't live in this world anymore. We live in a world where there is too much data and we really need help and we need automation. And this is just like how the financial system is changing with blockchain technologies and how the automotive industry is changing as they shift towards electric vehicles. And that is why I am a long-term investor of Palantir. This won't happen overnight. Seemingly, we are seeing Palantir sign new contracts, release new products, hearing new information and new use cases for their technologies. But in reality, it will take a long time because what they are doing is a big shift in history. I found a couple of really good use cases to talk you through of how Palantir can actually help different businesses. I think Palantir is quite often a very confusing company. So hopefully this will help you understand it better and help simplify it for you. So let's start off with quite a basic use case. Ringier, or Blink, which is another company that they own, is a Swiss-founded global media company. They've been working with Palantir's flagship platform Foundry to bring in all of the data that they have from all the various different sources into one central place. And then this informs their journalists really easily on what sort of articles they should be writing, how these articles are performing, which sort of audience members they should be targeting. And then this allows them to improve their reach, improve their content, and also in turn increasing their revenue. So because they've been able to utilize their data better by using Foundry, they have then been able to grow their business and they've seen revenue increases. That's the sort of business impact that Palantir are able to provide. And they have since actually renewed with Palantir. So clearly it's very valuable. And in just a minute, we're going to discuss just how sticky Palantir is as a business. The next use case is Concordance Healthcare Solutions. They are a healthcare distributor providing products, equipment, and supply chain solutions to the entire healthcare system. So they are pretty important. Now, they've been working with Palantir for quite a number of years, and they started off with Foundry, just like we saw in the use case that we've just discussed. But since then, they've actually partnered with Palantir to design an industry-specific platform that is built on Foundry, and that's called Surgeons. Surgeons is a platform that allows healthcare suppliers, distributors, and providers to all be connected through a centralized data sharing platform. It gives real-time visibility into supply and demand issues, into any time constraint problems that may come up. And it, more importantly than anything else, allows companies to be proactive rather than reactive. It allows you to act before you figure out that one of your hospitals is actually completely out of a very important piece of medical equipment. And you can only imagine the sort of knock-on effects that this has. And Surgeons is not the only industry-specific tool that is built on Foundry. There is also Skywise that has been made for the aviation industry. For our last use case example, we need to talk about Artificial Intelligence Platform, AIP. This allows existing Palantir customers to utilize large language models, LLMs, and other AI tools on their data. And they are able to choose which data sets are actually used. So this really helps in that argument that Palantir are spying on your data and have access to all of your data, which we're hearing in terms of this NHS contract. This is one of the main points of scrutiny against Palantir. But you can actually pick, as an organization, you are in control of your data and you choose which data points you actually give access when it comes to these large language models. And this AIP allows businesses and organizations to forecast out different situations. So they can see which situations, which options are out there for them in different scenarios, and then which of them are actually best for the business. So for example, if a situation comes up where you might need to shut a factory down and divert stock to a completely different factory that you have, you can then run this through and you can see what are the impacts that doing that has on maybe customer waiting time, maybe on revenue and other business goals that you have. And then you can forecast that out and see if that's the option you actually want to go with. Or do you not want to shut that factory and you want to do this solution instead? What are the knock-on impacts of that solution versus this one? It allows you to forecast out different situations before you actually make the judgment call. Now, the demand for AIP is growing rapidly, like really rapidly. In just over half a year since AIP was launched, it is now being utilized by over 100 enterprise companies across many different industries. And it's this sort of information that just gives me the confirmation that we are seeing a pivotal growth moment occur for Palantir. So now when it comes to Palantir's business and its growth trajectory for the future, there are quite a number of different things that I really like about the company. One of them is the TAM, the total addressable market. The idea that Palantir is industry agnostic, meaning that it can basically work with any industry and any business. For Palantir investors, that is great because that essentially means the scope and the reach is kind of infinite. The sky's the limit. The second point is that Palantir's business is pretty sticky. Now, what I mean by this is once Palantir have integrated themselves into a business, they are very hard to remove. It would be severely disruptive to a company's organization to actually remove or replace Palantir's software. This is because, firstly, what Palantir does is very unique, but also it would be very time consuming. And then you have to ask yourself why companies would even want to replace or remove Palantir when it is providing such value. Like we spoke about earlier, it is changing the revenues of businesses. Businesses care about their money, so it's kind of valuable. And that's just at a very top line, overview level. Also, on the government side of Palantir, they are making really deep-rooted, integral, long-term partnerships with different organizations. And this makes it incredibly challenging for any future or even current competitors to ever try and displace Palantir. So to reiterate my stance as a Palantir investor, I'm holding for the long term, and I'm at complete peace knowing that this is going to be a case of delayed gratification.